Welcome back to Marvel Live from San Diego Comic-Con 2017. I am Lorraine Sink, joined by Axel Alonso, our editor-in-chief. How's it going?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. You guys keep hashtagging Marvel SDCC and go over to marvel.com/SDCC 2017, where you can watch all of this live, you can interact with us, and you can ask questions and all of that cool stuff. And ask Mr. Alonso what he thinks. So you just got here, and we were just chatting, and you mentioned that you got your first full night of sleep. You have an infant. So is this easier somehow? Comic-Con for most people is really exhausting.
I'm as refreshed as I've been in a year, for sure. I'm ready to roll. Yeah.
That's a good break. So you're really busy at the con. You are our editor-in-chief, so you've got your fingers in everything, all across publishing. What are some of the highlights that people should be looking out for?
We have a lot of announcements at the con I'm excited about. I'm excited that we recently signed Donnie Cates, a very special writer. We've announced his first project in Doctor Strange. He's bringing some really huge ideas to the table.
And that's going to be a little different, maybe?
Yes, well, for starters, Loki will be the Sorcerer Supreme, and you'll learn how. The ideas and twists that he's bringing to the table are just outlandish. I'm very excited about what he's about to do.
Was that one of his pitches? He's like, let's make Loki the Sorcerer Supreme?
That was
that kind of come out of publishing in general?
It was something he and Nick Lowe discussed at some length, but the direction he went is just uniquely his.
I love that. What is it that you like about Donnie Cates as a writer, do you think?
I think it's that he goes for the grand slam idea. We've got plenty of talented writers. We've got big idea guys who got ideas that tell the great story. I think that Donnie just has such an incredible respect for and fanboy love for Marvel continuity and the wrinkles and the tiny things in continuity. I think it's going to be very, very apparent in the stories he writes.
Yeah, I do love that so many of our creators really come from a place of being super fans. Like Dan Slott, of course, is the person I think of who's like, was the ultimate fan who like writes in that ultimate way.
Yeah.
But you also have a ton of stuff coming up for Generations, or Legacy, as it's being called. Now, I know people are like, what is it? Can you explain it a little bit for the fans?
Sure. Well, I'll start with Generations. In the event Secret Empire, which is underway, there's going to be a pivotal moment in the story that's going to allow us to do something that we've been pondering for a while. If you're reading Secret Empire, you know there's a place called the Vanishing Point.
Right.
And this is sort of like, for lack of a better term, Marvel Universe's Twilight Zone. Right. It's a very special place. And we thought, what would happen if we were to send some of our other characters into the Vanishing Point? What types of experiences could they have? And we realized that we had this pivotal moment in Secret Empire in the third act that would allow us to do that. So we decided to take some of our younger heroes, Miles Morales, Riri Williams, Amadeus Cho, Kamala Khan, and put them into Vanishing Point where they could encounter their iconic heroic counterparts. So it allows Miles to meet Peter in a different way, Amadeus to meet Bruce Banner, and meet these characters at the peak of their powers. And what's going to happen in all of those stories, which are intertwined, is that it's going to give you not only a great adventure, but it'll lay down the seeds for the roads that these characters are going to travel, moving into Legacy and beyond. What road Miles can take and Riri can take. If we were to bring back Logan or Tony Stark, where they might land. And I think that you'll find your first clues here. So I think it's a must-read series.
Yes, I'm super excited about it. And there's something that I really love that's been happening, I think, across Marvel Publishing, which is that we have these younger characters, these younger iterations, like our Totally Awesome Hulk and our Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. What was some of the interest in not only making a more diverse cast, but also a younger cast?
Well, I think part of it is embracing younger fans. Really, a lot of these ideas, in fact, all the ideas were generated by the writers themselves. Right. And I think what's important about it is, I remember when we first announced Miles Morales years ago, the controversy that subsumed that, and how so many people have come to love Miles Morales over the last few years. Ditto for Kamala Khan. I know for myself that Amadeus Cho, my wife is Korean, and I've got a 4-year-old nephew who was he couldn't get to sleep the moment he found out that Amadeus Cho was the new Hulk, because he thought he would become the Hulk. And I think that's a very important thing. I think that allowing people of different types to see the reflection in our characters is very important. But that doesn't mean that we don't have a love and a commitment for the characters we grew up with and we love. The Steve Rogers, the Bruce Banners, and the rest, the original gangster Thor. I think that the key thing here, and the question that is on a lot of readers' minds, sometimes with a lot of anxiety, is there room for everyone? And I think that you'll start to see that Marvel and Generations will show you that there is room.
Very cool. Now, if you guys hear a little bit of something going on, there's some stuff happening happening down at the booth, but we're still sticking here.
We're trying.
And hashtag Marvel SDCC to interact with us. But that's also not the only stuff going on with you. One of my favorites, Breaking Into Comics, is happening. I believe that's today.
Sure.
Which gives people advice, and of course there are portfolio reviews. What is your advice to people who maybe want to come to a con, or they're planning to come to a con and do a portfolio review? What would you say?
Well, with the first thing I'd say if you're doing a portfolio review is to present sequential art pages, not pinups or covers.
Right.
We want to see your comic book storytelling. Present a scene that's quiet, two people sitting around talking. A scene that's loud, Spider-Man fighting Dr. Octopus. Show us how you handle different environments. Show us the range of your skills. Another thing I'd say is organize your portfolio with your most recent work at the front, working backwards, so we're able to see your progress over time, how you've evolved.
I love that. That's so cool. Now, we are also going to see the next big thing. Can you give us any little hints about maybe who we'll see on that panel or what's going to be going down?
I can't. Yeah. Nothing from me, because I'm not quite sure what's top secret yet. Yeah.
But you guys can go over to marvel.com/SDCC 2017, and we're going to be live tweeting some of those on that page. It's all going to be put up there for you guys to follow along, so you can get the announcements live from those panels. Another one of my favorite panels that we do at most of the cons, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. What has been the sort of arc and excitement for Spideyverse over this year, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, I think it starts with two books, with Dan Slott's Amazing Spider-Man and Brian Bendis's Spider-Man. You've got Dan Slott, writing incredible stories, like you said, the uber fanboy who's just found a way to mine all the history of the character and weave it in new ways, twist it like taffy. And we're going to see Peter Parker embracing his roots again as sort of being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You know, the guy who crashes on his couch. You'll see how things crash. With Miles Morales, his journey continues as only Brian can tell it, and I think you're going to look for seeds as the road he's going to travel in the coming arc.
I love that. That's so great. Are there any other panels that I know that Cup of Joe always has some cool, exciting stuff, as well as some other stuff. Are there any panels that you're particularly looking forward to?
I'm trying to think here. I think that I'm looking forward to there's a ESPN panel I'm going to be doing shortly, in about half an hour from now. Yeah. Where we'll be talking about our latest collaboration. I'm very excited about the collaborations we've done with our sister company here with ESPN.
And we did an issue with them previously that was sort of like bodies related, right?
We've done a number of things. We did an NBA preview issue. We did a series of posters for the college football playoffs. We did a body issue. We did renditions of various characters without their clothes, but tastefully handled. And it's been very exciting. I think that there's a lot of overlap between sports and comic books. The fans of comic books and fans of sports teams are rabid. They're crazy in their devotion. And of course, superheroes and athletes share a lot in common because they've got superpowers. Yeah.
I love that. Now we also have some interesting new panel for Marvel that has some musicians attached to it.
That's right.
Can you talk any about that?
Yes, the Black Eyed Peas are doing a panel. A little band, a huge hip hop band. Have a graphic novel, Master of the Sun, and there's going to be a panel that the Black Eyed Peas will be attending. I'll be on it as well, discussing the graphic novel and the inspiration. And it's just it's a perfect fusion of comic books and hip hop.
Now we did the Run the Jewels covers before. Does hip hop have like a special place in your heart?
Well, I mean, look, everybody's got the backbeat to to their life, the music they listen to, and I'm a hip hop head, and before that, rhythm and blues, and my predecessor Joe Quesada was more of a Beatles guy.
Right.
But again, for me, it's just that I've been in comics for a while, and I became more and more aware of how many people writing and drawing comic books were listening to this music and were inspired by this music, and it became a part of their work, and we just decided to embrace that.
I love that. And how did this book sort of come about? Because it's really interesting to hear, like, oh yeah, Black Eyed Peas have a comic book.
Well, this was brought to us pretty much produced. We're packaging it and putting it out. But obviously we reviewed content, we made a few edits, but very, very light. The artist is Damian Scott, who's Brooklyn born and Marvel bred, one of my favorite artists who works for us all the time. I'm very excited to see him on this, and we'll have more about it at the panel.
Yeah, Brooklyn represent. I'm also from
Brooklyn. We go hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
something I love about the book too is it's got a really different motif. Like the pages are black, and it's got such a really unique look. It's really cool.
Yeah. Again, it's Damian Scott's art is very influenced by Japanese art, manga, and murals. He himself paints murals. So there's more than a little hip hop flavor in that book.
I love that. Now, we're also celebrating Jack Kirby's 100th birthday this year, and I know we're giving away some like True Believers comics of first issues of Captain America and Inhumans. But is there anything else planned? I know we did our big Monsters Unleashed event this year, where we had a lot of Kirby monsters.
I think we'll be making some announcements here at the panel. I know that I will say that one of my biggest privileges was when I got to write the introduction for King Size Kirby book. And I spent a lot of time thinking, this is a great responsibility to write a requiem for one of the most influential, if not the most influential person in comic books, and sort of to sum it all up as quickly as I could in 1,000 words. And I think that the thing that makes Kirby so unique, I think that we look past, beyond his monolithic talent, is the fact that this is a guy who was constantly looking to be relevant to the world around him, and was constantly willing to challenge himself. I think it was that adventurousness and fearlessness, the fact that he was able to span so many eras, that resulted in works as crazy as the stuff he did for DC, like Mr. Miracle, Black Panther, Machine Man. This is a guy who really, he was not afraid to try new things.
I love it, and he has his own art technique, Kirby Crackle.
Absolutely,
you got to say, an absolute legend. And actually, he was just made a Disney Legend Award recipient at D23. I think we're going to show some of that footage in a little bit. But where can fans find you online?
I'm only on Twitter at Alonso. What is it? Axel Alonso Marv. Axel Alonso Marv is my Twitter handle.
There you guys have it. Stay here with us at Marvel Live from San Diego Comic-Con 2017. We have a lot more coming up very soon. I think we're going to be showing, as I said, that Jack Kirby footage in a little bit and some other things. So stay here with us and #Marvel SDCC. I'm Lorraine Sink for Marvel, your universe.